Well, why would we wait? We shan't. We won't. We will move on and bring in our next guest, courtesy of our good friends at Ski Cellar Snowboard, skicellarsnowboard.com. 76 years. 76 years. And it's amazing. And now they have 4 stores in the winter, but one right now, McLeod and Chinook. So check them out. Very pleased to have join us, friend of the program, and apparently part of a email chain that I wasn't on, because I guess we were all supposed to wear our Cardinals gear today.
I see that.
Hey, you notice that?
I see
Did
that.
you see that? Yeah.
I can't hear myself.
I didn't know.
It's tripping me out. I can't hear myself.
I can hear you.
That's weird. Oh, well, I guess we'll battle through, but it's fine.
Wow.
Just not used to
This
it.
is now, people won't know this. They're going to go, well, that's the first time Will's complained. Will Nault, by the way, is our guest. It's actually the second.
No one has ever said that.
Wow.
They'll say, wow,
he the first time.
A lot.
Well, yeah, because you already texted me to complain.
Oh, yeah.
Because of what?
That's what you're going to tell right now? The story of me complaining about?
No, the story that I was going to tell.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, actually was. Yeah.
Okay.
Come to think of it, it was. Will Nault, kind enough to join us. Again, habitual social media presence, and he has some opinions.
Stunning.
Yeah.
It's been quiet. I don't know why you're having me on, but
what do you mean it's been quiet? Yeah. Well, we're just killing time, really, to the next show.
Till next Thursday, I guess.
I guess so. Oh, it's a podcast. We don't have to kill time anymore. Where do you want to start? I mean, the world is your oyster, sir.
I just saw news. Like, I'm going to shift gears completely on you, but
yeah.
I just saw that Bo Levi was transferred to the 6th game. So I just
was he?
Yeah. Just wanted to throw out some.
So he's going to miss.
Well wishes to him.
He's going to miss that game here in Oh no!
Oh no!
He won't miss that game.
That's okay. That's next year.
Boy, it's been an uneven start, hasn't it?
Been a little rocky. I think the only team that's probably happy is the one to the province west.
Yeah, BC's look good.
Oof, they looked really good last night,
right?
And no one's made Winnipeg look like that in a long time.
Yeah,
especially at home.
Yeah, I don't think that helps.
Or Zach Caleros,
I was going to say I don't think that helps the rest of the league, does it?
No.
You wake up the sleeping giant. My only problem, and I don't know if you remember this, is I don't take BC seriously until the postseason, because I remember the year they went 11-0 to start, and then we're just a train wreck to finish, right? But hey, give Vernon Adams credit. Like, those are big shoes to fill for a rookie quarterback who was Canadian and all this great stuff. Those are big shoes of Rourke's to fill.
Yeah. And I mean, ownership's come in there and made a huge footprint in their community as well. I think that should not go unnoticed, but Vernon Adams is finally getting, that opportunity.
It hasn't gone unnoticed, but is it sustainable?
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Cause it seems like, to your point about the 11-0, it seems like, okay, June, July, it's pretty hot. And then as
but
summer
how many
goes on, the attendance starts to drop again. And
the concert part is the interesting part to me. Is those things are not cheap.
No.
And you can tell me all you want about, well, it's just LL Cool J. It's not cheap, right? And you have to sink some hard-earned money into that. And we've had a conversation, you and I don't know how many years in a row, we talked about the viability of the league and the younger market and everything. I'm hearing. It's funny how the mighty have fallen, right? I'm hearing good things about tomorrow. It might be as much as 25. You and I were working together not that long ago when that game, Saskatchewan in town, would be 32, right? That's the part that scares me. And I'm not 100% sure bringing out 90s acts to Calgary, and that's a slight against LL. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if you bring out.
Hey, the Riders brought out Kim Mitchell, right? Come on.
Well, that's a Canadian legend.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. But I'm not 100 trooper, everybody. I'm not 100% sure that's going to scratch the itch either, right? And I don't know. I guess I'm reverting back to my original when I got into the business days. Like, I'm almost pulling punches on the league, but this whole stats thing, and I don't know if people are in tune with this. That can't happen.
No,
that's inexcusable.
And for your commissioner to come out and say this is not a failure, that's 100% a failure. You had 200 days from the last end of the Grey Cup last year till your season kicking off.
Yeah, I know.
200 days.
Yeah.
And you're saying it might be ready in July.
Yeah.
It might. You're not even making guarantees at this point. Yeah, it's a disaster, but we'll see how
See, I like him.
I do, but he just
I know. He just seems to get in his own way.
100%.
Right.
Just quickly, and then we'll move on. John Bender asked me this question, and I love the question.
All right.
You can't renovate, or you can't build a new one.
Yeah.
How do you get more people to McMahon?
You have to renovate it. And I think I saw it 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe it's not that long ago, some plan of wiping out one side and rebuilding one side.
Similar to Ottawa.
Yeah, that exactly. And then, building up around it and things like that. It's so close to the university. Have you seen this stuff? I apologize. I don't know what they call it, but on the west side, as you go towards the Children's Hospital, that new district.
Yeah, University District.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what they call it. It's by the university, that new district. University District.
Yeah. 2 words. Put them together.
Yeah, there you go. If you could have something like that, right?
100%.
Some kind of district.
And I know there's some, and like you said, I don't know if there's official plans out there, but there was some sort of plan out there about
renovating that space
and tearing down Burn Stadium and doing everything around there and kind of making your track and field.
Well, isn't that where the field house is going though?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Or is it going over the track? I don't know. The existing track.
Yeah, I don't know. But I feel bad about it because, I made the joke that the election, which it turned out was not even close. It was supposed to be an election about the arena. It was not. But if I was Notley, I would have come out and said, not only am I voting for the arena, I'm building a football stadium. That's how I would have countered it. Didn't need to, but it's so quiet. Nobody ever talks about that. The last time there was any legitimate talk about, a new football stadium was Calgary Next.
And then as soon as that project died, so did that conversation.
Yeah. And I feel like in a way that it's kind of been, it's the story we don't talk about because I think it feels like a death march in a way. And I don't want it to be, but it feels like a death march. Yeah. Right. I yelled and screamed and made quite a fuss.
What were you so upset about?
Really, really, really angry about the NHL not allowing the warm-up jerseys next year as a direct result of one group. And to me, and you can push back as much as you want, but you heard me say this before. I don't think the NHL did it out of hate. They did it out of taking care of their players. They did it out of baby. They're delicate geniuses. They need to wrap them in bubble wrap. We can't. This is inconvenient to them. Yeah. We can't have Eric Stahl have to answer these questions. They're mean. And as a result, you have given ammunition to haters and hate groups and said, well, that group does, the LGBTQT community doesn't deserve the same respect as everybody else. The NHL said so. That's the part that bothers me. And the other part that bothers me, well, you and I both know people personally who have busted their asses to do projects like this and promote projects like this at the league level, at the club level, all of these things. And we know there's players.
Well, and you've been involved in those processes, right?
Yeah.
You know how much goes into that.
I do. And I find it personally offensive. And
because it's almost like a slap across the face saying anything that you've done in the past, we don't really care.
Right. And so I'm really angry about that.
I don't know if I've seen this talked a lot about so far on this topic specifically. And I'm curious where you stand on it, because you've definitely dipped your toes in both pools. But how much of this do you think is corporate involved in terms of, was there any conversations from sponsors? And I only bring that up because we've seen the negative backlash on Bud Light. And I do wonder if there's companies that have said, you know what?
Yeah,
we don't want, is it better if we just completely scrap it? I wonder, the only reason I bring it up is because of the Bud Light and because I haven't seen anything of it. And some of the big league sponsors, I wonder how much of that conversation went on behind closed
Well, because
doors.
It was not a release. The NHL never came out.
With like any studies or anything.
No. We found out after the Board of Governors meetings that it won't happen again. To me, I go back to, it was kind of the predictable move that the league would make. Oh my God, this is hard. We won't do this anymore.
We have to answer questions.
And what I have read is that there was a lot of concern about the players, didn't feel it was fair that they had to go through this and it was hard on them. So it's a fair point because you have watched Bud Light, go through this. I'd like to believe that there are more sponsors that would take up the cause. But until we are told exactly the reasoning, we are left with, they're not doing it anymore. It's like, I've been around this team for the league for 20 plus years. I don't remember a hockey fights cancer year that didn't involve a jersey. And as a result of this, you're going to pull that initiative
or military appreciation.
I know how hard Treaty 7, worked with CSEC to get that, the First Nations jersey. It's just,
I don't know, Black History Month too.
Well,
there's a Flames had a jersey this year for that.
Based on Jerome McGinley, his history. We had Dr. Tyler White on the show on Wednesday, and he was talking about how important this was. And here we are. This week was Juneteenth. How important these things are. I'm frustrated, Will. I'm frustrated. It's an unnecessary gunshot wound that they didn't need to do. And they could have sent a loud message. They chose not to. They chose to take the coward's way out.
I think you've said it perfectly. Okay. I don't know if I can add a ton more. I think I've had a lot of similar thoughts to you in that whole thing. And I brought up the corporate part because I do wonder if that's a conversation, but I also know that the player side of it was big too. And I think,
and I'm not mad. I love Peter Hanlon and I love Sean Kelso and those guys. And I love, I got a good friend, Brandon, who's working in San Jose. And this is not me running at media people at all, but the players are just way too protected now, and they're treated like delicate geniuses, and they're not allowed. You can't do this with them. You can't do that with. It's a game day. Oh my God, they might shrivel up and blow away. I don't know what the hell they're worried about, but it grinds my gears a little bit that I truly believe, whether people want to accept this or not. It's funny, when I put my stuff out on social yesterday, I got a lot of feedback, a little bit of negative, but not much. But the negative feedback is all, what did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Okay. Well, you heard the stories about the kids who are trying to figure out who and what they are in the world. And something like this allows them to understand and express themselves. But nope, now we got to go hide again. Yeah. Those are the kids I'm worried about. Those are the stories that I'm worried about. This one has real life implications, and it's disheartening. Okay. I've said my piece. I've yelled about it. Rebuild. The floor is yours. No. Interesting day yesterday. Do you remember a day like that? And
not with one team. I remember days with, we've had big names come in, subsequent hours with different teams, but it's never kind of been bang, 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 all from the same team.
Right. And I kind of feel like everybody's vilifying Frank a bit because Frank seemed to be the guy that it
all came from. Why? Because he's right? Because he's reporting the news?
Is he right?
Well, he's reporting the news. I saw a lot of people, and this is why I get frustrated, because I saw a lot of people yesterday hammering Frank for saying Lindholm is leaving. He never said Lindholm is leaving. Go read the tweet again. He never said he's leaving.
No.
So I'd love for people to show me where he said he's leaving. He never said that.
No.
He said he's weighing the decision and leaning towards a no.
But have you ever heard me say this? Social media doesn't allow for context.
No, it does not.
Right? It just doesn't allow for context.
And it's funny because, and I put this out there yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, but it's the time of the year where I think a lot of people, rightly or wrongly, and sometimes it ends up being true, but a lot of people will go out there and say, hey, if you're a diehard fan, or even if you're a media member, and you say, I don't believe that report because I don't like it. And it's like, well, okay, it's that time of the year where, some things might get said about your favorite player, your favorite team, and you might not like it, but that's the reality of it. And so that's where sometimes I had an issue with some of the attacking on reporters because they're just reporting the news. Yeah. And so they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
That's all.
It was interesting the way everything unfolded. Like, today, Elliot, yesterday, Michael Backlund's not staying. Today, he's been offered the captaincy. There's just, they are, and I speak of the Flames now, are absolutely ripe for this. They are absolutely ripe for this. New GM, new coach, 7 identifiable players that, they can't make the same mistake as last year. Last year happened, so everybody's kind of focused on they didn't make the playoffs. They underachieved, all of these sort of things. They are absolutely in this quagmire. And then, I don't know, I might be too picky about this, but is there a picture of Mitch Love smiling? Because there were so he signed in Washington. Good on him. That's exactly what he needs to do, or stay. Sorry, but if you really want to be a head coach, then stay and be a head coach. But if you need to get to the NHL, he did exactly what he needs to do. And why would he go to the team that said, no, we're taking him? How many of us would do that?
Yeah.
Right?
True.
How many?
Can't fault him.
No. But the same picture, the poor guy, He looked
I was laughing
angry
because
all the time.
everybody in the Capitals tweet when they said Mitch Love hired and they put that photo of him.
Yeah.
Every one of their fans was like, "Oh, our entire coaching staff next year is bald. Perfect." Like, it's just we're gonna have a bald coaching staff next year. So,
yeah, it's not what came to my mind, but yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Every photo of Mitch Love looks very angry, but
he does. He's got a smile somewhere.
He's got that mean mug.
Yeah. We haven't even mentioned this today, but Mark Savard, Dan Lambert, Cale McLean, Jason LaBarbera. There's your coaching staff.
And Pringle.
And
Chips.
Yeah. Jamie, I forgot you. Sorry, pal.
Well,
I didn't
been
do
there
it.
for so long.
But he's listening right now, and I feel terrible.
Oh, is
I'd
he?
like a redo. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I feel
want
like
to redo.
I want to redo.
Restart. Fast forward.
So Savard,
Yeah.
Lambert, Cale McLean.
Take 3. Third time's a charm.
Lambert, Savard, McLean, LaBarbera, Pringle. There's your coaching staff.
Nailed it.
Okay.
You're welcome, Chips.
Not a lot of head coaching NHL experience in there. Is that okay? Because you know how we added the president of hockey operations? Oh, we have a GM. Oh, no. Now we have a president of hockey operations and a GM. That was the other thing. We hired a head coach. Oh, but we've got an associate coach. You mean an assistant? Oh, no, he's an associate head coach.
With 0 experience.
Well, there's no associate coach here.
Oh, I thought Savard was. My mistake. You might not.
Jack, can you fact check that for me?
What am I fact checking?
There's one show going on.
What are
Jack.
you listening to over there? Jack, what are you doing?
I'm just reading these.
What's on your
comments
screen,
from
Jack?
people.
We should play the game. What's on your screen, Jack? Huh?
No. Can you
We
just
shouldn't play that
fact-
game?
Is Savard,
Is there an assistant coach?
Savard assistant or associate?
Assistant, isn't he?
Okay, there we go.
No, I asked you to fact check, and I didn't ask you to make a guess.
I think it is assistant.
I think it is assistant too.
But you're right. I don't know if I have a huge issue with that. I think only because Huska has been around the last little bit around some pretty experienced head coaches. So I don't know if it's a necessity. He's worked with Lambert a lot before. Lambert spent some significant time in the NHL. So I don't know if it's a huge X or a red flag.
I'm not worried about it at all. I'm not worried about the GM. I'm not worried about the coach. I'm beginning to worry about Jack a little bit over there. You all right?
Yeah, mic's off.
Okay.
Continue.
No, the mic's on now. Right now it's off. Okay. You know, and to me, it's exactly how much of a fresh start is this going to be?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But you got to find that balance, because I also don't know if you can go 95% youth. You're going to have to, bring some veterans in. You're going to have to. We're not going to say this about a Flames team ever. I was going to say get to the salary cap floor, but that's not going to be a problem. But you're going to have to, I think, and you're still going to have Huberdeau and Kadri. I don't think those guys are going anywhere. Certainly not this season.
That's why I don't think you can call this a rebuild. And I'm sorry, I'm not calling it a rebuild.
No.
I am still of the opinion that Lindholm will come here. And if Lindholm comes here, I think Backlund comes here. I think Hanifin, yeah, I get that. Toffoli, I guess if it was that Daryl Sutter versus the room and Toffoli's a Sutter guy, I guess I get that.
Except that he wasn't.
I thought he was.
I think all rumors lead you to believe that he wasn't.
Oh.
But I could be wrong on that.
So
That's
yeah,
just
and I don't want to get into rumors. We told we'll see, but I said it to Ryan earlier. I mean, to me, the whole linchpin in all of this is Lindholm, and that's because of the position and
yeah.
And I know you're going to probably take me here, so I'll go there on my own. But it's going to take 8 years. And are you prepared to tie up? Oh, who knows what 8 years from now? Maybe $8 million, $8.5 million might be middle of the pack. Yeah, it might be middle of the pack. But are you prepared to lock him up for that long?
I'm not. And the reason why I say I'm not, I love Lindholm. I think he's a great player, but you've got enough guys in their 30s locked up with big dough. I don't know if you need another one in his 30s. He's going to be 29 in December. Is his best years behind him? Are you going to get a 40-goal season when he's 32?
Well, let's stop right there. So if you have those players, you're talking about Huberdeau and Weegar and Kadri.
Yeah. I was talking, more on the forward group. So you've got Huberdeau and Kadri already locked well into the 30s at big money.
And same with Weegar.
Yeah.
Right. Are you better off not to win now. As soon as you say win now, I can only imagine that the comments and the tweets that'll come in. What do you mean win now? I mean, continue to try and piece a team together. Look, everything has been said. Nobody watched this team this year and goes, man, they gave it a great effort. Better luck next. They're just not good enough. It's the opposite. They underachieve.
Yeah.
If the goalie is good again, if Wolf comes in and is Wolf, or what we think Wolf is going to be, if the kids play, and they could be a playoff team. I'm not a deep run team, but a playoff team. I just, if you're keeping Lindholm, I think you better try to be a playoff team. If you're not, I think it becomes a really interesting question. Are you going after assets, or are you, to your point, okay, well, we're losing Lindholm, so we got to try and get another center. We can't get a 1, but maybe we can get a 2.
Yeah, I wonder what they do in terms of that, because you're right. I think the ownership is personally, I don't think ownership will ever give the message that they want to do anything other than compete for playoffs and compete for championships. There's just never been their MO.
Yep.
So even if, for example, all 4 of those guys who've been in the news, and we're talking Hanifin, Toffoli, and the 2 forwards, Backlund and Lindholm, if they all leave, I honestly don't think it's going to be a rebuild. I think we're going to see those guys replaced with similar type players. It's just the way this franchise has always operated. And
okay, I agree with you, by the way.
Yeah. And for me, like, I just think if you look at it right now, if you're to sign Lindholm, like, just look at your team. Okay, the next 5-6 years and the playoffs, the way that they're structured in the league, are you going to be better than Vegas and Edmonton's over the next 5 years with the core that you have right now? I know last year they underachieved. But do you think your group is good enough in a 7-game series to beat those 2?
Which Edmonton? To beat the Edmonton that should be, or the Edmonton that
Edmonton that they should be? Because
okay,
they're going to be better, and they're going to try and
do we?
Well, they're going to try. They've got to.
Sure, they're going to try.
And I guess,
how's that working?
I guess would you
like
take
and I know I can't remember when we talked, but I'm pretty sure it was during the playoffs. Like, I'm still shocked that they went out. I'm still shocked that Vegas beat them. I respect Vegas. I think Vegas they won the Stanley Cup, and they look good doing it.
Well, and the Oilers have lost now to the Cup champions in back-to-back years. They lost to the Avalanche in the Western Final last year, and they lost to Vegas.
And which series were they more competitive in? Seems like they hit the same wall, right?
Yeah.
So what are you? I understand the point. What they should be, but what are they? Vegas.
They're good every year.
Yeah.
What's Aiden Hill?
But are they a juggernaut? Well, that's my point.
What's Aiden Hill? What are they in goal?
Who's their goalie next year?
$1 million question.
Right. And at some point,
and all due respect to Aiden Hill, good Calgary boy.
Absolutely.
Anyone can get hot for a couple of months. We've seen it with lots of goalies in the past. And if you
you know what this reminded me of? It reminded me of Leighton and Niemi.
You know what else it reminded me of? Andrew Hammond.
Yeah. The Hamburger.
Obviously, he's not as low as Andrew Hammond. Aiden Hill's had a better career than Hammond to this point. But
don't you think Leighton and Niemi are more of the comparisons?
Yeah.
Right? Because
2010.
Niemi wasn't even qualified, he's qualified. He was let go by his team when they got the arbitration award. And I don't think we ever heard from Michael Leighton quite the same way again, did we? So I thought there's no reason to think the kid can't play. I don't know, but where's Robin Lehner in all of this? This is the part I don't understand. Really, I don't understand. So I could be convinced either way. Does their cap gymnastics ever catch up to them?
Oh, 100% it does. 100%. Now, maybe I shouldn't say 100. I should say maybe 90, because I do wonder, to your point about Lindholm's 8.5 earlier, like, if the cap jumps a lot here in the next 2-3 years, they're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, it's going to go up by 10 million.
So they should be fine.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think, and it's maybe for me, it's not only cap gymnastics, but it's constantly chasing that new toy. When does that catch up with them?
The other team that you didn't talk about is Los Angeles, and they're not going to go anywhere.
No, they're going to go like this.
They're going to go straight up. Vancouver, I don't know.
They're a mess.
San Jose, not yet.
They're a mess.
Anaheim, not yet. Who else moved? Did we move Detroit in the Pacific now, or what? I can't keep track.
Arizona still in Arizona?
Arizona? Who? Where? No, Hartford, you mean?
Salt Lake?
Yeah, that's another one right there, baby. Yeah, I just
that's the question you have to ask yourself internally, and I just think for me, and I put this out there earlier, and I will end on this for Lindholm on a pretty little bow on it. I just think that you're putting yourself back in your circle. Like, it hasn't worked. What are we doing here?
No,
it's been 30 years of the same thing. And
30
so
but it's 30.
when are we going to change that?
It's 30 years of not. Yeah, exactly. It's
Like,
30 years of not being able to say the R
It's
word.
obviously not working.
The only thing, and I brought this up with Pike, you probably heard me. And I'm sure, we how many good rebuilds have there been?
Well, yeah, it hasn't really been done a lot, to be honest. It was done up north. It took forever, and it wasn't even.
No,
proper.
I'm talking about how many
clunky.
That was, but there was multiples, right?
Yes,
and
they're still in it. To be honest, they haven't climbed the mountain. I mean,
right.
Yes,
LA's in another version.
Yeah.
They're coming out of that. I look at finally it looks like Ottawa. So that's 2017, and now maybe in 2024.
Rangers just fired a coach, so they didn't really do it. The Devils.
Yes.
The Devils were absolute horse S forever.
You can say it. No matter.
Horseshit.
Yeah, they were.
And now I think they are on the rise.
But how many incarnations have we had of that?
Just one.
Really?
Yeah. Really? I mean, they were shit after Eliash and that core left, and they didn't really do much. Like, okay, they went to the cup final with Kovalchuk. After that, did they really do anything?
No, but that's what I mean. How many?
So it's been one build. Hasn't it, though? Like, with this core group.
No, I think the build. Well, 2017 they drafted.
When did they draft Hughes?
Oh, that's
18, 19?
No. Well, which Hughes?
20.
20. Hold on. No, it would have been
2019.
2019, yeah.
So I think the Devils are a one-build team.
Okay.
They're not complete yet, obviously. They still need to find their goalie, which sounds like maybe they have in Winnipeg. But
Montreal's done it a couple times, right?
Yeah. Toronto's done it forever. You're right, though. It's not easy. And
it isn't easy. And
I said this earlier, too,
but I don't think that precludes you from doing it.
No. You
right?
try.
Absolutely.
And even the quick builds, too. I mean, if you want to, if you are to trade a Backlund and a Lindholm, and you're getting similar type players in, and you're doing a rebuild on the fly, like we've heard so many times, you need so many things to go your way for that to happen.
Yeah.
So it ain't easy.
No, it's not. Although I do, we seem to work on the extremes. Let's come back to the middle a bit here. We won't talk about the kids. They're the players that might leave, but let's talk about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
We assume Wolf is coming here.
Yep.
What's a reasonable expectation for him? 20 to 30 games?
I think you probably want to see him in about 20 games. Yeah. And I think if he plays really well, you could probably see it upwards of 25. If he doesn't play so well, maybe you lighten that a little bit. But I think, and Elliot Friedman said this forever, you get to the goalies at the end of the season, the Stanley Cup final, and a lot of them don't end up in the 65-70 range. Like, you can't do
anymore.
That. So
not anymore.
Yeah, I think you probably go in with a target number of 20 and see how he does.
On the blue line, the Poirier kid isn't ready, is what I've been told. Like, I'm not expecting him to come into camp and earn a spot.
No, but I'm curious to see what he looks like in camp.
Yeah, and you could see him this year at some point. Up front, I think Coronado. I think
I don't know if he's guaranteed to be here, but I think he'll compete.
Okay.
I'm not sure his skating's ready yet.
Okay. Pelche.
I think he'll be here day one.
Zary?
No.
Phillips?
I don't think he's here.
That doesn't feel like a lot of youth to me.
It doesn't.
Right?
And I think it's maybe at some point down.
Walker Dewar, in fairness, right?
Yeah, for sure. But in terms of your recent first-round picks, I don't know if we're talking about them all being here.
That's not a lot of youth.
No.
Right? Unless you're going to go out and get youth.
Yeah.
What do you want to get? What can you get out of this draft? Are people going to give you draft picks, or you have a better chance of getting somebody's prospects in this year's draft?
Well, that's a great question. 23, apparently the first round is very, very deep. So I do wonder how hard those picks will be to get next week. Certainly, some of the teams we've been talking about with some of these players like a Lindholm and a Hannafin. I don't know if you're getting a top 10 pick for those guys, but if you package it into a bigger deal, maybe you are. I do wonder, Rob, in terms of the youth, is Conroy's focus on the 24 draft? I don't know. Are those picks going to be easier to get? I don't know. But that kicks the can even further down the road. So it's going to be a tough one to juggle, I think. But I think as the night goes on, I put this on Twitter yesterday. How many times do you think Calgary's picking in round 1 next week?
Well,
because I think it's more than what they got now. But I don't think it's a lot more.
Can Noah Hannafin bring you back a first round pick?
I think Noah Hannafin gets you a first round pick. Yeah.
Above the how would you say this correctly?
I think
1 to 20?
I think.
Can he get you into 1 to 20?
I think if you can package something else and I don't know, maybe you package your own 16th with it to make it happen. But I think Detroit's 9 is achievable for Hannafin. Because they gave up Phil Hronek to Vancouver. They've got, I think, 3 first-round picks. They've got 3 second-round picks.
I forgot about that.
They've got a lot of picks. So, I don't know. Maybe Yzerman's not looking at Hannafin, but they need a D on top 4. He fits a need for them. He plays a lot of minutes. That'd be a team I keep an eye on.
Wasn't Buffalo one of the teams that was rumored at one point?
Yeah. Even Washington, too. I think they're right in that range, too. 10, 11, maybe.
When's something going to happen?
Hopefully soon.
Well, I started off the week thinking,
when do the GMs arrive in Nashville? That's when it'll start going.
I guess so.
Sunday?
Who's more active, Calgary or Winnipeg?
Calgary.
Calgary's more active than Winnipeg.
I think they have better pieces. I think Winnipeg's not going to move Dubois just yet unless they get a killer deal before Thursday. And I think Winnipeg's willing to ride next year out with Dubois and trade him at the deadline. I do.
What about Hellebuck?
I think he's gone.
Yeah.
I think he.
So which is a better which is more valuable in the open market right now? Hellebuck or Lindholm?
Hellebuck or Lindholm?
Yeah.
Hellebuck.
Yeah. That's why I think Winnipeg is going to be more active.
Hellebuck or he's the best.
And it sounds like Wheeler's, and Wheeler's,
Wheeler's a guy that's going to eat half the money and go somewhere for a year. And sounds like it could be Minnesota back home. So, because they're a team that is loving to bring in players in their direction.
Speaking of perpetual rebuilds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Good Lord. Holy cow.
I think the longest rebuild in the league right now was maybe Vancouver. They haven't been in the playoffs since 15.
Arizona?
Well, they have been in the playoffs in the bubble. That was a lie.
Actually won around 2, didn't they not?
Who, Vancouver? They went deep.
Yeah.
That was their whole overpicking Demko now because he was lights out.
That's right. Yeah. What about Arizona?
Yeah, they've been in a build.
They like forever, right?
They've been in a build in more ways than one, Rob, on the ice and off the ice.
I don't even talk about it anymore. I got it 10 years ago. Okay, it's a television market. All right, if you get out to Scottsdale, I get it. Okay. Mm-hmm. But now you've had a legitimate opportunity to be owned by the people down there, and they turned it down. But good Lord. And well, why wouldn't they do that for the other teams? Look at Atlanta. Like, nobody wanted Atlanta. They threw the keys in the middle. They had no choice. Right? I don't know. They talked to Jason Smith, not that Jason Smith, the other Jason Smith who owns the Utah Jazz. Pretty sure that they've got Ryan Smith. Ryan, Jason, I got my Oilers captains mixed up. Ryan Smith that owns the Utah Jazz. I think they're trying to get him to do the shovel day off. But and this got brought up. I don't know if this is legitimate or not. Do you want an expansion team or do you want a
Well, and I've heard this conversation a lot, and I think Elliot Friedman brings up a great point. Like, if you're Ryan Smith, and you're looking at what's happened in Seattle and Vegas, I want an expansion team.
Yeah. Now that the rules have changed.
I want my team, and I want to build it my way, and I want to, 100%.
Yeah.
If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I want my own team.
What do people in Columbus and Minnesota and all those other places think? Like, look at Columbus. I mean, God love them, and I love Ports Line, and I love the city. It's great and everything. They've been in for 2+ decades now and have nothing.
They've won 1 round.
Right?
1 round.
Nothing.
They swept the Lightning.
Yet Vegas is 2 Stanley Cup finals and a championship already in 6 years.
Minnesota's never been to a cup final.
Nope.
Been to a West final.
Yeah. I just
Nashville, they've been to a cup final.
Unbelievable.
It is wild.
Who coaches the Calgary Wranglers? So Mitch Love has left. Who coaches the Calgary Wranglers?
Brent Kissio.
Okay. Coach Lethbridge Hurricanes, former assistant with Calgary, has coached with Hockey Canada, has that pedigree. Of course, his father, Kelly. I know who I think should.
Who's your pick?
Carla McLeod. I think it's about time. You show me another coach who has openly, on a big stage, shown me what Carla has shown me the last 2 World Championships.
It's been brilliant. I would love for her to get the job.
Right? And, building that culture and having that influence and making those players buy in and believe. I just, I wanted her to get interviewed for the Flames jobs or the assistants job. I just don't, I hope I'm wrong, but I hope it happens, but I can't see anybody being better tactically, all of the little things that she is, deserves that opportunity.
This is going to piss people off, but
yeah.
Should she be an assistant first? She hasn't been hired in pro hockey. Is that going to scare some people away? I know she's coached Worlds. I just wonder about that too.
Dude, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. Mitch Love came from the Western League right in the American
but he was
League.
a head coach in the Western League. She's a head coach at high school, right?
No.
Where's she now?
UFC.
Oh, she's at UFC. Is right. Never mind. Sorry, Carla.
No. But that's part of it.
Yeah.
Will, it's like, on Wednesday, the Hall of Fame. Oh, there's Caroline Ouellette. Just one. Thank you. Why are we putting these restrictions on these things? By the way, Hockey Hall of Fame, not the NHL Hall of Fame. Let's make sure we point that point out.
Yep. Well, and I mean, really, people were laughing at the 3 goalies in the class, and I think it was Frank who put it out there. He goes, until now, like there was only, I think, 12 goalies total before this class. So really, goalies have been ignored forever too. So.
Oh yeah. No.
There was a lot in that class where people were like,
we had Ryan and I had a fun question because I asked this, like, and this goes back, you and we've debated this before. Is Paul Henderson a Hall of Famer? At moment, what he did is incredible. Should that be something that maybe the Hall of Fame looks is adding some new categories? Oh, we can't do that. Well, why can't we? Why can't we have, an international moment or Hall of Fame moment or something like that? Why couldn't we because again, the honored members will always be the honored members. The media guys are in the Hall of Fame, but they're not the honored members. The trainers recognized, they're in the Hall of Fame in terms of their pictures, but they're not honor members. I get that. Honor members are honor members. That's cool. But why not have, more of a collection of, this was one of the great, like, bad example, but for my generation, the Washington Islander game, longest game ever in history. There should be some special recognition for that. Because it's referenced, it's talked about all the time, and Latvia this year, like, look at what they did.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, even like just going back to Carla, full circle, like that, shouldn't that Czechia first medal be in the Hall of Fame?
Now you could put it in the Hall of Fame, but I'm talking about actually recognizing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's overdue. And I think Hall of Fames are in that weird spot of trying to like get things right, but they all just seem to not get it right. I don't know.
Well,
it's weird.
It is because, and I had that conversation too, what is this need for secret ballots being public? Why is that necessary? I never question it at all. But now, the baseball players, they do that. The awards, they do that. I believe Ryan told me that they do the when they vote on the Elmer Ferguson, they make those public. We can't have a secret ballot. Why can't we have secret ballots anymore? I don't. Everything, in this world that we live in now, everything's got to be out in the open and got to be scrutinized.
Why don't you want it to be transparent? Why are you, I guess, the other way? Why do you like that it's secret?
Because I think it's, in some ways, it brings down the conversation and the accolade a little bit. Like, if you get recognized and you're put in the Hall of Fame, and listen, not publicizing the ballot would do the opposite. It would just add more scrutiny to it. But to me, the story almost now becomes the voting rather than the individual. Like, who voted for him? Why didn't they vote for him? He's not unanimous.
Are you referring to like, oh, you're the asshole that let Barry Bonds in? Or you're the asshole that let Pete Rose in?
Or you whatever. Didn't, more likely, you didn't put him on your ballot, and you didn't. It seems like we spend more of sports time, says the man who started off this show with a 12-minute rant, more of our time in sports arguing about the processes rather than enjoying the exploits.
I guess just for me, from the other side, like if Hall of Fames are so sacred and all that type of stuff, and the people that are in charge of putting players and or honored members in, shouldn't they be, because that's such a high position to be in, shouldn't they be held accountable and watched over in terms of, like, as a fan, shouldn't you trust that process? And I think if you're behind closed doors, I think some of that trust is lost. That's just me. And I think
no, I get it, Willie. I get it. I get it.
That's a very powerful position.
It's
to
a
be
very,
in. And you can just, that's like, it's the same, maybe not the same. But it's like referees or umpires making a bad call and never talking to the media about it.
No, it's the exact same.
Yeah.
It's the exact same. No,
there's no
accountability.
So that's why I don't like
the original Delicate Geniuses.
Yeah. That's why I don't
I get it. But it's not a hill I'm prepared to die on. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if people appreciate how much work goes into making those decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And
because we don't know enough about it.
Well, I've done it because I was a voter, part of the selection committee for the Alberta Hockey Hall of Fame. And I would not equate that to the National Hockey.
No, for sure.
Don't get.
But
I know the responsibility that I had there.
But you only know that because you were involved. And I think, for fans, don't you want to know how it's involved?
Yeah, but
what goes into it?
You don't have to do a heart surgery. And I'm not comparing the two. Oh boy, that's a bad example. But the point I'm trying to make is there's a lot that goes into those decisions, right? Like, talk to Eric Tahachuk. When Mike Vernon gets nominated for the Hall of Fame, it's not like somebody has a copy of the Hockey News and a highlighter and goes, how about him? Right? There's a lot that goes into it. There's a case to be made. There's comparables, all of those sort of things. And yet McGillney doesn't get in. And to me, I'm gobsmacked by the outrage when a player doesn't get in. I'm absolutely blown away. Like, you're an idiot. You can't do that. How can you not put him in? And where I sat on Pat Burns, like, I didn't get it. Like, I know we wanted to rush it because he was dying. That's a sad story, but it's a process. And I put faith into the people that, and again, nobody has faith in people anymore. Right? I think we just established this. Nobody has faith in, we
don't trust the process because we got no faith in it.
So, Ryan was saying, do you if you're the Calgary Flames and you trade Elias Lindholm for 3 picks and a bottle of water, do you write a letter? And I don't even know where you'd write the letter anymore. I guess you put it on your website.
Is it Rob Kerr water though? Or is it just normal water? That's a huge, huge part of this.
Yeah, somebody's in trouble over that.
Uh-oh.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, it needs context. No, it needs context, right? Yes, no, I know. Anyway, you might have seen it floating around. No, the point I was making is, do the Flames, okay, they trade Lindholm for, 3 picks. Is it incumbent upon Don Maloney and Craig Conroy to write a letter and post it on the website and go, dear Flames fans, this is what we've done. This is where we're going. This is how we're going to get there. Here's the process.
It's not similar. How is trading a player and electing someone to the Hall of Fame similar?
Well, it's just talking about the process.
Oh,
You said the process.
Yes.
And Ryan had brought it up before. It's the process. We're fascinated by the process. Right?
Yes.
We need to see who voted and why they voted that way. Here's the process. I would have done this. All right. But exactly how much work have you put into this? These voters are not there by accident, right? You know, there's some work that
They don't
goes
just
on.
knock on the door and say, I want to vote today, and then they vote. That's not how it works.
No.
No.
At least it shouldn't.
No.
At least it shouldn't.
Thank God it doesn't.
But it's a process.
Yeah.
And okay, so if we're so big on processes, do we want a process? So if the Flames decide to trade Lindholm for picks, do we want, or they don't? They decide to.
Well, I think if fans had it their way, they'd absolutely love to have every GM's call log and who they talk to and what players they could have had. Come on. Of course we would.
Yeah. No,
but
you're right. 100%.
But
100%.
It's just not going to happen. It's just not the reality. So, yeah, tough one, but I see where you're coming at. I see where you're coming from because I think there's a part of us that all wants to see how the sausage is made, right?
Absolutely. 100%. Do you have anything to plug?
No. Really don't.
You don't, eh?
No.
How about your social media?
You can follow me at Will_Nault on Twitter.
Okay. All right. Nothing else?
Well, I have Instagram, but I like to keep it a little low key.
Oh, do you? Low
Yeah.
key? Okay.
If you want to follow me on Instagram and I know who you are, I'll probably follow you back and I'll let you follow me. But I don't really do much on Instagram.
Yeah, I hope you'll let him follow you.
I just like to keep that stuff personal.
I'm kind of anxious to get the show over because went on my little rant at the beginning and I've just looked over at the machine and there's some.
How many bubbles you got?
Oh, quite a few.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't regret a single thing. You gonna come back again?
I would love to come back.
Okay. Let me know which team we're gonna all wear that day. Like I feel like I got left out today.
Blue too. This is good. The blue is by chance.
Yeah. No, you two could. You two.
What kind of hat you got on though? I can't even see.
I think it's a Michigan.
Okay, that's the voice of Jack, who's wearing a St. Louis Blues Cardinals
Michigan something
jersey.
It's a weird
you're
hat.
wearing a Cardinals hat,
and you're wearing a Papa Roach hoodie.
No,
Papa
Rob.
Papa Rob.
This is my this is my Parachutes for Pets sweatshirt that I just got with Papa Rob on it because I am old, cranky, and grumpy, and my friends over there think that I'm a lot like Papa Smurf. That's all that I can come up with. So I got a sweatshirt with Papa Rob on it.
I like it.
So,
but it's not blue like the Smurfs.
No.
Okay.
No. I drew the line there. I said, not on my watch.
No.
Not on my watch. Were you 7HL today?
No, I was on Wednesday though.
Okay. I heard you got in some trouble. I heard you did something I did a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, but you'll like this though.
Yeah.
Got a little mad at Sailor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
we've both been there.
Then Randy Kwong says to me after, he goes, "It's okay." I told him in the locker room after that, "Hey, Sailor, Will just did what we all wanted to do for years, so it's fine. It's totally okay."
There's a
zero context to anybody listening. But,
no,
it's all good.
I listen. The 7HL listens to this podcast, so they will get it, and I know it, and Sailor knows it, and you know it, and I'm proud of you.
And then I messaged him and I said, "Yeah, sorry about that."
Did you have to?
Yeah, I felt bad.
Okay.
I like Sailor. He's a good guy.
He is a great guy, but we've both been there.
Yeah.
We've both been there.
He's being a bit of a Richard.
Okay. Yeah. I see what you did there. Guest brought to you, and he's a guest. Will Nault. Thanks, buddy.
No problem.
Brought to you by Ski Cellar Snowboard. SkiCellarSnowboard.com. 76 years. Snow in the mountains is weak. So it's not that far away. It never, ever is. So if you're looking for skis, bindings, how about snow skating? All of these things. Head on down to the one location that's open. There's 4 in the winter, 1 in the summer. McLeod Trail by Chinook Center.